You won't believe what Kate Middleton's hat just did to the royal greeting protocol at Westminster Abbey. Picture this. Three of the most prominent women in the British royal family standing face to face, trying to greet each other properly, and then bursting into laughter because a simple hat just made the whole thing impossible. This isn't a scene from a comedy sketch. This actually happened at one of the most important royal events of the year, and you were probably not expecting what unfolded next. The Commonwealth Day Service is one of those grand royal occasions where everything is supposed to be perfectly choreographed. Every bow, every curtsy, every greeting follows centuries of tradition. But on March 9, 2026, Princess Kate found herself in an unexpectedly charming predicament that had everyone watching, including Queen Camilla and Princess Anne, breaking into genuine giggles. And if you've been following the royal family for years like many of us have, you know that seeing these working royals laugh together in public is actually quite rare. Let me set the scene for you. Westminster Abbey was filled with dignitaries, representatives from 56 Commonwealth nations, and members of the royal family all gathered for this significant annual celebration. The atmosphere was formal, dignified, exactly what you'd expect from such an important occasion. Princess Kate arrived looking absolutely stunning in a blue Catherine Walker dress. Now, if you know anything about Kate's fashion choices, you know she doesn't do things halfway. She paired this elegant dress with a wide-brimmed hat designed by Sean Barrett. And this wasn't just any hat. This was a statement piece, the kind of hat that turns heads and commands attention. Queen Camilla, at 78 years old, chose a vibrant red overcoat with a matching hat for the occasion. Her headwear was a large Philip Treacy creation, paired perfectly with a black clutch bag. Princess Anne, always practical yet stylish, wore a smaller green hat that complemented her outfit beautifully. But here's where the story gets interesting. The royal family has very specific greeting protocols. When family members meet at official events, they typically greet each other with a kiss on both cheeks. It's tradition. It's expected. It's what's supposed to happen. Now imagine you're wearing a hat with a brim so wide that you can't actually get close enough to someone's face to complete this traditional greeting. That's exactly the situation Kate found herself in. As Kate approached Queen Camilla and Princess Anne to greet them properly, something wonderful and completely unplanned happened. The wide brim of Kate's beautiful hat created an unexpected barrier. She tried to lean in for the customary two-cheek kiss, but the hat simply wouldn't allow it. The physics of the situation made it impossible. And this is where the magic happened. Instead of awkwardly pushing through or pretending nothing was wrong, all three women just started laughing. Real, genuine, caught-off-guard laughter. The kind of moment that reminds you that underneath all the titles and tiaras, these are real people dealing with real, relatable situations. Princess Anne, who's known for her no-nonsense approach to royal duties, smiled apologetically at Kate. It was as if she was saying, "I'm not even going to try, darling." Anne understood immediately that attempting the traditional greeting would just result in hat collision after hat collision, so she opted for the sensible approach and skipped the attempt altogether. But that's not the whole story. Other members of the royal family who witnessed this adorable predicament decided to adjust their greeting strategy on the spot. Instead of risking their own carefully positioned headwear, they settled for just a single peck on one cheek. Practical? Absolutely. Traditional? Not quite. But sometimes you have to adapt to the circumstances, even when you're royalty. Now let me tell you why this moment matters more than you might think. The royal family is often seen as formal, distant, almost untouchable. Every public appearance is carefully managed, every word is measured, every gesture is deliberate. But moments like these give us something precious, a glimpse of authenticity. When Kate, Camilla, and Anne dissolved into giggles over something as simple as a hat interfering with protocol, it humanized them in a way that dozens of carefully crafted public relations campaigns never could. People who have followed these women for decades got to see them as mothers, grandmothers, and yes, regular women who can appreciate the absurdity of a situation just like anyone else would. The choice of hats itself tells us something interesting. Kate's wide-brimmed Sean Barrett hat was elegant and fashion-forward, perfect for photographs. Camilla's large Philip Treacy hat was bold and regal, making a statement befitting a queen. Anne's smaller green hat was practical and understated, very much in keeping with her efficient approach to royal duties. Each woman's headwear reflected her personality and role within the family. But the real drama started when we consider what else was happening outside Westminster Abbey that day. While Kate was dealing with her charming hat mishap inside, protesters had gathered outside the historic building. They weren't there for a cheerful celebration of Commonwealth unity. They came with signs and strong messages. The protesters held up signs reading, "Not my king," and "Down with the crown." Other signs demanded to abolish the monarchy and posed the question, what are you hiding? This wasn't just a handful of disgruntled individuals. This was an organized demonstration of anti-monarchy sentiment happening right outside one of the most important royal events of the year. The timing and location of these protests weren't random. Recent events had put the monarchy under increased scrutiny. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, who you probably know better as Prince Andrew, had been arrested on his 66th birthday the previous month on suspicion of misconduct in public office. This arrest had reignited conversations about accountability, transparency, and the role of the monarchy in modern Britain. So here's the situation. Inside the Abbey, you had this genuine, warm moment of laughter and humanity between Kate, Camilla, and Anne. Outside, you had people questioning the very existence of the institution they represent. The contrast couldn't have been more striking. Despite the rocky start with protesters outside, the service itself proceeded as planned. King Charles delivered his annual address to the Commonwealth family of nations. His message was included in a special booklet given to every member of the congregation, a tradition that allows his words to be preserved and shared beyond the walls of Westminster Abbey. In his message, Charles addressed the challenges facing the world today. He acknowledged that communities and nations across the Commonwealth face increasing pressures from conflict, climate change, and rapid transformation. But he also emphasized hope, saying, "Working together, we can ensure that the Commonwealth continues to stand as a force for good." Charles went on to note that it's often in testing moments that the enduring spirit of the Commonwealth is most clearly revealed. He was speaking to nearly a third of the world's population, the combined citizens of the 56 member countries that make up this unique association of nations. Commonwealth Day has been observed annually on the second Monday in March since 1977. It's a day when people across these diverse nations participate in cultural events, school activities, and faith-based services. It's meant to bring people together in a shared moment of reflection and celebration, connecting communities from Africa to Asia, from the Pacific to the Caribbean. But let's come back to Kate's hat moment for a second, because there's something important here that you might have missed. This incident, as small and charming as it was, actually demonstrates something significant about how the current generation of royals is handling their public image. 20 or 30 years ago, if something like this happened, it might have been seen as a breach of protocol, possibly even embarrassing. The individuals involved might have tried to maintain composure and pretend nothing awkward had occurred. But Kate, Camilla, and Anne did something different. They acknowledged the absurdity, they laughed together, and in doing so, they gave the public a gift, the opportunity to connect with them as real people. This approach reflects a shift in how the monarchy is trying to remain relevant in the 21st century. People don't want distant, untouchable figures anymore. They want authenticity. They want to see the humans behind the titles, and whether intentional or not, moments like the hat incident provide exactly that. The fact that other royals adjusted their greetings to avoid similar hat mishaps shows quick thinking and adaptability. It demonstrates that even within the rigid structure of royal protocol, there's room for practical adjustments when circumstances require them. You don't have to knock someone's hat off just to follow tradition perfectly. Sometimes good sense trumps protocol, and that's okay. Now, think about the broader context here. The Commonwealth Day Service represents unity, cooperation, and shared values among diverse nations. The protesters outside represented dissent, questioning, and calls for change. And inside, Kate's hat created a moment of shared laughter and connection between three women who might otherwise maintain more formal distance in public. Each of these elements tells part of a larger story about where the British monarchy stands today. It's an institution trying to honor its traditions while adapting to modern expectations. It's facing criticism and calls for reform while attempting to demonstrate its continued relevance. And it's populated by real people who sometimes find themselves giggling because a hat won't cooperate with centuries-old greeting customs. So what's the real takeaway from all of this? On the surface, it's a delightful story about a fashion accessory causing a minor protocol hiccup at a royal event. But look a little deeper, and you see something more meaningful. You see three accomplished women handling an unexpected situation with grace and humor. You see the monarchy attempting to balance tradition with relatability. You see the contrast between formal ceremony and authentic human connection. And you see how even the smallest moments can reveal larger truths about the people involved and the institution they represent. The Commonwealth Day Service of 2026 will likely be remembered not just for the King's message about working together as a force for good, and not just for the protesters outside calling for the monarchy's abolition. It will also be remembered for the moment when Princess Kate's beautiful wide-brimmed hat made the future Queen Consort, and the Princess Royal burst into laughter because sometimes fashion and protocol just don't mix. That image of three royal women giggling together over something as simple as a hat tells us that despite all the pressure, all the scrutiny, and all the expectations, they're still human. They still find joy in unexpected moments. They